My name is Bethany. Welcome to the podcast. Hi guys, so today I wanted to talk about oversized clothing and kind of the secrets of how to make that work. It is something that I just generally am gravitated towards. Like I want to wear very oversized, cozy sweaters, especially this time of year. But there is a technique to doing it, so that is what I want to go in today. But there's one thing first that I really want to take care of business about, which is we just hit 200,000 here on YouTube, and I'm really excited about that. I can't thank you guys enough for following along. To be honest, it hasn't fully hit me yet. I also am like, wow, you guys are scary. But also I am just very privileged and honored to be able to have this moment with you guys. And I really am excited to contribute more time and resources, energy into it. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where this is all going to go. Today, though, for the short term, I'm really excited to be able to talk about this topic with oversized clothing. And if you ever want to listen to it offline, I am going to put this in a podcast form within the next week. So you can check that out wherever podcasts are sold. Just kidding. But I'm going to publish it to Anchor, and that just sends it out everywhere. And Zach knows more of the details to all that. He works things out for me like that. But I am excited to talk about this topic today of oversized clothing. So let's get started. Oftentimes, whatever is the most comfortable thing to wear is usually the least flattering. Like, I just wish I could wear pajamas all day, or especially in wintertime, I just want to bundle up under all of my scarves and hats and just everything and just wear chunky sweaters because it's cute. But then I go to take my photo and I'm like, wow, do I need to tone this down or like sort it out and make it work? And I am going to talk a lot about the structure of things today, maybe some geometry lessons, and we're going to kind of sort this out and make it work for us with examples. So the first thing that I love to do is to be able to show some skin whenever I'm wearing something oversized. So some examples of this, if I was to wear a lovely sweater dress, I would want to get that above the knee and maybe show a little bit of skin there. If I'm wearing like high boots with it would be a great example. But then on a much simpler scale, something like I'm wearing right now is a button down. It's an Oxford shirt. And for those of you who can't see, it's something that is blue, and I'm wearing it like with 3 buttons unbuttoned. So about 3, more or less. And then the sleeves, I'm just kind of rolling down, but they're not something that I'm doing the J. Crew roll of my sleeves. I'm actually just like folding it down once, leaving it unbuttoned. And then that exposes a lot of my jewelry and gives a better idea of my actual figure compared to what is more frumpy on top. So when you're a petite, it's quite hard to be able to find things that actually fit. Like this is an Oxford shirt that to most people it would not be oversized. But when you're petite, it's very hard to find anything that isn't oversized. So I want to kind of talk about how to make that work. For those of you who don't know, my new podcast I'm titling Only Looking Up because I am 5'1". I look up at everybody and everything. And in fact, it's very hard whenever I try to clean my house because then I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's a whole extra house above that I can't even see. And so like, I don't even know what's up in my house right now. Like, I'm not even going to talk about it, but it is something that I have to go on ladders and stuff to be able to actually clean my house. And so, yeah, when it comes to clothing, it's almost impossible. Like, if I want to wear an oversized shirt, I have to go to certain measures to be able to make it work. So that's what I'm doing today, kind of like a more of an undone look. And it's also important whenever you wear a button-down shirt that's oversized is to kind of fold down this collar a little bit and make that kind of shine. Don't leave it up like this, right? That would give it a completely like more office-y look. That's not what I'm going for today. So the thing that I want to do too, whenever I'm talking about showing skin, is if it's pants. I want to show my ankle by having cropped pants if they're oversized. And that will expose the fact that my legs are skinnier than they look when they're in very oversized or baggy pants. And there's different ways that you can do this. So many different ways come to mind. But that is really just the key, is to showing skin that you feel comfortable with showing. And, I think confidence is a part of that. Like you don't have to, like if you don't feel comfortable unbuttoning this like that far, like you could do things with your arms. Like there's different ways to make that work for your own like comfort level. Another perk to being able to button down your shirt, though, is that it's going to give you more of a V-neck top, which will, like I've said before, lengthen your torso if that's something that you're looking for to do, or if you just want to look taller in general. That is one of my favorite things to do. Is a V-neck looks best on any body shape. Like V-neck is versatile. It's something that will work on anybody. So definitely try it out and make it work for you. And maybe if you're not wearing an actual V-neck, this is something that you could do with button downs. Another tip that I have, so this is number 2, is to wear a belt or cinch your clothing at the waist. And this is something, again, I talk about all the time. This is something that I incorporate into any outfit, whether it is oversized or not. But it is important to be able to kind of not drown in oversized clothing and shirts and sweaters. So whenever you can just take a belt, or maybe your cardigan already comes with a fabric belt, then cinch there. And I know that sometimes people don't want to draw attention to their midsection. It depends on your body style. I work with a pear-shaped body style, and I can only talk so much on other body styles. I'm not an expert in that. I'm only an expert in my own body. But one thing that I know that other people like to do who don't want to draw attention there is they will just bring up the belt more in between like boobs and tummy. And what that's going to do is actually lengthen from where that belt is all the way down to where your clothing stops. This is something that I tried the other day too with my dress. I was just wearing a dress that came maybe mid-thigh, and what I did is I put a belt right at my midsection, like right at my smallest point, which is always my tip. But when it comes to dresses or something that you want to lengthen, then moving that belt up a little bit is something that lengthens your dress or your cardigan, your sweater, whatever it is. If you want that line to be lengthened, if you don't want to draw attention to your midsection, or if this is just what you want to do to look taller and less frumpy in oversized clothing, that's what I would say to do, is to bring that belt or whatever it is that you're cinching with, bring that up a little bit. Maybe it's a wrap shirt, like a wrap sweater. That would be another example. I'll go into this a little bit later, but another thing that you could do is if you're wearing a skirt to just make that high-waisted, and that would be a similar example of how you can take something like an oversized sweater and just tuck that in and make it work for your skirt. So in essence, you're cinching at the waist in that point. My next tip is wearing oversized clothing that has structure to it. So let's talk about that geometry lesson. When you're talking about oversized clothing, imagine you being a line, essentially. That's your body. Now add a circle to it. That is what most oversized sweaters look like. But if you're talking an oversized blazer, you're talking more of a rectangle or square to adding that on top of that line that your body is. And so what that's going to do, regardless of however you see yourself and how you're working with your own body style, is it adds structure. So that's why blazers are so cool right now, and why a lot of people are wearing oversized blazers, is because it gives you structure to a look that otherwise wouldn't be. And I'll go into a little bit more about how to make blazers work. But in essence, when you're talking oversized, you want squares, not circles. And so, yeah, that would be an awesome way to be able to do that. Again, even a belt is a little bit more of a straight line in geometry. It's not necessarily something round. It can create two circles, but there's ways that you can do that as far as tucking in your shirt, and it depends on the outfit. But that would be my general rule: is look for maybe a shirt that has structure to the shoulders or has straight lines in its cut. That's one thing that I look for whenever I get a jacket, is something that has straight lines. I want to have a minimal jacket. Like, I don't want something with lots of different directions and just weird pleats and stuff. Like, I want something that is actually cut minimally and has that straight square design to it. I've even seen some people wear a belt with their blazer, And what that's going to do is it'll cinch at the waist so you're not drowning in your blazer. And also, talking about geometry, that's a little bit more of like having an inverted triangle at the top. And that's another very slimming and slenderizing way to wear an oversized outfit. And so if we're talking about geometry, that's what you want is lines. You want direction, you want structure as far as squares, also triangles, but you don't want circles so much. Okay, moving on to my next tip, which is about contrast. So let's talk about contrast. There are a couple ways to do this. The first way is if you're thinking about adding a loose top with loose pants, that would be, in most cases, a bit much unless you're tucking in the top into the pants and showing skin. But what I'd rather recommend is adding a loose top or bottom with a tight top or bottom. So you only want to limit yourself to one piece of oversized clothing in your outfit. You don't want to have everything oversized. And at the concern that I have about scaring anyone away from this podcast, I will keep this next point brief, but you don't want to look like a clown. I know clowns really freak people out, but for one moment, let's just talk about this because clowns wear oversized tops and then they wear really bulky, oversized pants. And this is to look weird and funny and interesting and kind of freaky. You don't want to look weird, funny, interesting, freaky in your outfit. Like, that is not chic. I talked a little bit about circus chic in my last video, but honestly, it's not the way to wear oversized clothing. You don't want to go with the clown look. So what you should do instead is to kind of work with contrast. So I like to keep oversized pieces at a minimum. You want to wear tight pants when you're wearing an oversized shirt. You could wear even leggings with a dress, and that would be a way to have an oversized dress, but then showing more like tight-fitting pieces that are more true to your actual form. And it's just a way to wear an oversized piece that is naturally frumpy, but then making it something that works for your body and looking much more chic and put together. Another note about contrast is that you could mix masculine with feminine. I love this juxtaposition. It's so nice, and it's something that a lot of French women do, whose names I cannot pronounce. I swear I can't pronounce anything in French. I even took lessons online for French, but I gotta give up. I just butcher it, and so I'm not going to say like names, but all of them say when they're looking at their closet, they have a mix of feminine and masculine pieces. They'll have very feminine tops. They'll wear heels, but the top, like if they're going to wear a jacket, in essence, it's going to be something that's more from a menswear line. You could actually wear your guy's shirt if you wanted to. So this is what I kind of am thinking when it comes to masculine and feminine. I want it to look like I went to bed in a beautiful lace silk cami, and then I needed to get the paper outside, so I put on Zach's coat real quick. And that's a juxtaposition of how that makes that look effortless and chic and maybe a little bit of mystery to your outfit and much more intentional than otherwise if I would have gone all feminine with all the lace head to toe or like all masculine, which could be very hard to pull off. Like menswear, if you wear it head to toe, it really requires a lot of attention to these other steps like wearing a belt or showing more skin or having structure. So another way that you could contrast the masculine and feminine look when it comes to oversized clothing is through color scheme. So a more feminine piece might have something that is a little bit different than the masculine piece. So the masculine piece might be a blazer with like 70s earth tones to it. And that would be a way to mix an oversized piece with something that's more feminine. So if you want to wear a loud color, I would have a lot of struggles trying to incorporate that into my outfit for a masculine piece. I would try to limit the color to more of the feminine or tight-fitting pieces and then kind of try to tone it down when a piece is very big on me or oversized. For an example of this, I would say that I would not wear this shirt that's kind of oversized on me in a very loud color, because that's going to make the piece look even like bigger on me. So what instead I'm doing is, even though this is blue and I don't wear like a ton of blue, it's more pale. And that's a perfect example. But then if I was going for that look of having a silk cami, I might do either like a pink, or if I was really daring, I would do pink for that. And then on top, I would wear something that's like a brown or like a 70s color that is more understated and a bit more masculine. And that's kind of how I would play with it. But the list goes on. I just would not wear a giant blazer that's bright yellow and then something understated and tight fitting underneath. I think that's going to draw more attention to the oversized piece and make me look just absolutely tiny underneath it, to the point where it didn't look intentional. This leads me to my next tip, which is that when you're going oversized, it can stunt you visually. So whenever I go to wear a really cute oversized sweater and I go to take my photo and I'm wearing flats, it never helps me look taller. And if that's something that you're going for, if you're trying to look a little bit less frumpy, a little bit more put together, more chic, then these tips for looking great in an oversized outfit really help. And one thing that can definitely help with this and add to more of a feminine vibe is by wearing heels. And so the ways that I like to wear heels in the wintertime is with boots. I have other shoes in my closet right now, but I only wear boots these days because it's cold and I just want a more winter look when I'm wearing heavy jackets and stuff. So I like to wear boots that have maybe a bit of a feminine touch to them sometimes, like my Cezanne boots are a perfect example, where they just are, they have just beautiful laces that go all the way to the top. They are tight on my feet so they don't look like too bulky or anything. And then they've got just really cool details on them as well, with gold and stuff. So really fun pair of Cezanne boots I can link you guys to. But then on the other hand, sometimes I even wear my Doc Martens, and that can be a challenge in its own. Like they have a heel to them because they're just massive. And I'm obviously like 2 inches taller when I wear my Doc Martens. But then I have to wear something very much of a contrast, or something that shows off my body, my actual body size when I wear that. Like, for example, when I wear my Doc Martens, I'm going to wear something that is a long black dress. And I'm not going to add too much of like a bulky layer on top of that. That's kind of going off in a different direction. My point is that you want to add literal height with heels when you are going oversized with your outfit. One thing too about having heels in the summertime is I don't wear stilettos ever. I like to have some sort of like structure to my heel, something that gives me more stability, where I'm not walking around like a newly born calf. Because I just want to be able to have less pressure on my feet, and I just like the look of this. And another way that you can add height to an oversized look, I've talked a lot about having something oversized on top, but another way that you can add an oversized look to the bottoms is by having a tighter fitting shirt with oversized pants that, in my preference, are high rise, and then making your pants not cropped, but actually reaching the floor and hiding your shoes. They shouldn't grace the floor to the point where the pants are buckling at the bottom and making you look shorter. But by just skimming the ground, it can make you look like you're wearing stilts. And that's what a lot of people, going back to the circus, do. When they want someone to look really tall and slim, they're wearing stilts half the time, and they just hide the shoes. And that gives a really solid, beautiful line from where your pants start at the waist all the way down to the ground. And you can do that with an oversized look, like I've been experimenting with flares lately. And so that's what I'm doing with that. I don't let them buckle like they would on a Scooby-Doo character, but I do like to have just that solid line that goes from top to bottom. And then on the top with that, I would wear something that's tight fitting, so that if you go back to the Scooby-Doo reference, Shaggy would probably wear a giant like 70s shirt with these bootcut or flare, whatever, bell-bottom jeans that would just look ridiculous, like if you were actually wearing that today. So those are my tips for looking really great as far as like your footwear is concerned. Just be sure to add height whenever you're doing that. And then that kind of brings me to my final point, which I've mentioned here and there, and you guys should know it by now, but wearing high-waisted pants is something that can really help you if you want to have something oversized on top. Even if you wore oversized pants, this could be something that benefits you because it goes back to adding that line, that height to your overall look for your pants. That's going to make you look taller. That's going to make you not look like you're drowning in fabric. And overall, it would be really nice to be able to tuck in your top and just let that, if it's an oversized shirt, then just letting that kind of drape and billow, and then just kind of highlighting the fact that the shirt is ironically bigger than what you actually are. And so those are ways that I think about my clothes and how I just kind of make an oversized look work for me. It's a lot. There's a lot of tips, but in essence, I'm trying to show a little bit of skin. I'm wearing a belt. I'm cinching at my waist. Anytime I wear oversized clothing, it's going to have structure to it. So I'm thinking in terms of squares and triangles, not like circles. And it's really important to be able to think about just the geometry and structure there, as well as contrast. So either masculine and feminine, or you could do the loose plus tight. Never more than one piece of loose clothing on an outfit that's oversized. And then also just wearing heels, and my golden rule of wearing high-waisted. And this goes to skirts too. Don't forget about skirts, where if you want to like tuck in your top into something that's a high-waisted, beautiful skirt, it can give you such a chic, like mysterious vibe that is so pretty. And P.S., if you have a short torso and you don't want to stunt your torso at all, then there's a couple of things you can do, which is get a mid-rise pant, or else get something like this where you are opening up that V-neck. And that would be so important to be able to lengthen your torso. And I will leave you guys with that. I know it's a lot. I don't even know how long this video is, or podcast is. I want to talk to both of you at the same time, but I really appreciate it if you could give this video a thumbs up, and if you're listening in podcast form, to be able to rate this with a 5-star rating if possible, and I will see you guys next time.